Okay, today I'm going to talk about the sanction by the United States, by the USA for sanctioning Russia. So comparing to the same measures and standards to sanction China, whether China can handle it if using the same sanction standard. No, let's research and talk about deeply in this topic. Okay, now we are using the the long neck system, and I'm using the Chinese CPU Longsun 3A4000. So 16 GB RAM around. This is the Longsun. Okay, quad-core CPU. Now I'm using this operation system, the Chinese operation system based on Linux. And okay, let me first see if now so we'll talk about that. If the USA sanctions China, no worries comparing to Russia, because we have been preparing for a long time, since the time when we were named as the different political system, different from the democratic system, different from the Western democracy. So we are the communism and Chinese characteristic socialism. So we are named differently by the West. So they have been doing the sanction long time for us. So we have already prepared for it, and also they have been sanctioning us for long. It's like and they lack the core technology, so that China couldn't use them. It's like the CPU technology, the planes engines, and everything, the high technology, the USA and the West have already locked it and have already blocked it. So we don't care. We've been researching our own, just like the nuclear bomb. We researched it by ourselves. Okay, so now let's see if we'll talk about the problem of the Russia. Russia has been being sanctioned by the United States because of the Ukraine and Russia conflict. So if and then I see the Russia is now being sanctioned, and is being sanctioned recklessly. So everything is sanctioned. I think is which doesn't make sense, and so everything is has been cut. So it's not fair. Look at what USA did before in the Middle East, Syria, Iraq. The world is imbalanced, is unfair. The USA, the West, NATO did a lot of those things similar, but no any sanction at all. And also, I remember that time with the the wash powder, right, in Syria or Iraq. So USA just made the excuse to invade Syria, Iraq, and to make war, to invade other countries in Middle East or other countries. So what's the difference? And then no sanction. That's very weird and very very unfair. So I need to say something about to support Russia. And how about the Switzerland? And all the things are is all the things are like the neutral standard, neutral countries now all stands for USA and support USA sanction. I don't know why, huh? They should be neutral. They should be neutral and not saying anything, and just like Switzerland, people invest in the West and the Switzerland, and now it's different. They robbed Russians' money. They feast the Russians the money. The people outside Russia. The Russian went to other countries. All the money already went to other countries, and the Russian living in other countries. They also took their money. I don't know why. It's so unfair, and it's not good. It's not a good chance. It's not a good view. So now Russia is being sanctioned. So our Chinese will help, and we are welcoming Russia. You don't need to worry too much. We will help, and you can use the Chinese alternatives, instead of USA stuff, and to replace USA stuff. So first, we got Google versus Baidu. So you can use Baidu. So we Chinese use Baidu. So it's Google and Baidu. This is also a search engine. So a Chinese version. So as Chinese, we don't care about your sanctions. We got Baidu. We can search a lot of things, and many things are better than Google. Because especially for the medical stuff, and you search about the medical stuff, you have a lot of things. So good. This is a great search engine, Baidu, right? And other things, the YouTube, vs Bilibili, TikTok. So we got Bilibili and a lot of things. We got Bilibili. So we don't need to use YouTube. We can also use Bilibili as well to see videos. Also we got TikTok as well. So we also have WeChat and WhatsApp. We as versus WhatsApp. So we got WeChat. Also an instant messenger. So you can have the WeChat instead of WhatsApp. So we don't need to be afraid of this. And also we got Weibo versus Facebook. We don't need to use Weibo. We don't need to use the Facebook. We got Weibo. So this is the Weibo. So we can use this as well. Weibo instead of Facebook. You see? It's a little bit slow today. We got Weibo. Okay. Just like Facebook looking about the something publishings like this about photo and your content and your say. And we got for the sport apparels, we got Anta, Li Ling versus Adidas, Nike. Okay, you can search. Got Anta. This is very nice shoe. Even NBA players also wear it. Anta and Li Ling. Also is great alternative. So you Russians can choose this. Li Ling. And Adidas, Nike. We got Huawei, Xiaomi, Vivo, Oppo. We don't need to use iPhone. Huawei, as you know, all you know. Huawei, Oppo 手机 Oppo. Vivo, Xiaomi. So we got a lot of cell phone. We don't need to use American stuff. And the Western stuff, we got Didi versus Uber. We don't need to use Uber. We can use Didi as the alternative of to the Uber. It's just like the download the app, you can link to the WeChat Pay, the Alipay, or some bank account and call the taxi by the app. So convenient. So we also got, as Russia is being sanctioned by the West, and they cannot use the SWIFT, the money transferring system, money trading system. So we got CIPS as well, our Chinese CIPS. So we don't need to care about sanction. Russian can also use a CIPS as well. SWIFT, CIPS. SWIFT is a messenger system for global banks to communicate. CIPS is mainly a settlement system for renminbi, the Chinese yuan, Chinese dollar, Chinese money transaction that also offers some communication functions. So we can use this CIPS to replace SWIFT to trade money, transfer money to Russia, from Russia to China, to India, to Africa, to other Iran. So we don't need to care about SWIFT. We don't care about the sanction. If they sanction me, we have the alternative. We got the backup, so don't need to worry. And also, for Visa card and MasterCard, Russia has stopped. So we got Union Pay for the backup. So this is Union Pay. Union Pay, Union Pay, Yunnan. This is the alternative to Master and Visa card. So we don't need to care about it. You see the card, there is Union Pay under. So we don't need to care. And what's more is we got cars. We got BYD, Great Wall, and Great Wall car also sold in Russia, Serbia, Chang'an. I saw when I was in St. Petersburg and Moscow, and also saw those cars, and versus that Volkswagen, BMW, and Mercedes, or those kind of Western cars. Also, I'm using Longsun browser, Longsun CPU as well, so don't need to care about those kind of things. Got BYD cars, we got BYD, so we don't need to care. We also got the Great Wall car, the Great Wall car. Also got the Chang'an car, right? What's else? Many. We don't need to mention. And CPU also we don't need to care. We have Longsun now, as I'm using Longsun CPU. 3A5000 is the latest one. The latest model, we can have the Longsun architecture, Longsun long arc architecture. We got long arc architecture, LOONG, long arc architecture instruction set. So we don't use x86 or something. So we got our self instruction sets and architect, 100% self-made. So we don't need to care, and we use Linux, the open source. So we don't need to care about sanction. And it also has the binary translation, so it can translate to the Windows x86 by using Q or Q for Y. Also, they have the binary translation embedded inside the CPU. We got the instruction set to translate the x86 instruction set to long arc as well. So we can use Windows stuff, we can use x86 stuff also with this CPU. and for sure we will have MIPS as well, and can use long arm instruction set as well. And about the Phytium, we can also have a Phytium CPU, Huawei CPU also, Phytium CPU, Phytium CPU. Huawei also use this x86. No. This is a ARM instruction set. ARM instruction set. So we got ARM instruction set. We have Phytium. Huawei also has ARM instruction set versus Qualcomm. And also we have Jiaoxin CPU. Jiaoxin CPU is x86 CPU. So we got Jiaoxin CPU, right? Can run Windows natively. Don't need to have the binary translation. So we don't need to care about those kind of things. And we got all the CPU versus Intel, AMD, Qualcomm for the ARM for the equivalent to Phytium. Long Suns is the self-made instruction set, and also UOS Linux, and versus Windows, Mac OS. So we don't need to care about those things. We got the UOS, Chinese OS, right? Can run all the Chinese CPU Long Sun as well. Now I'm using, Longnix, also Chinese OS, and Long Sun CPU now I'm using. So we don't need to care about the Sanction. And also we got Huawei Pay versus Google Pay and Apple Pay. As I said, I read the news about the Russia people queuing up for paying the buying the in the subway, to buy the ticket, because before they used the Apple Pay and Google Pay. Now they blocked it, so they need to use the paper money now. So if they use Huawei Pay, then will be no problem. So Sanction them. So Huawei Pay. So we got Huawei Pay. It's like using NFC as like Apple Pay. We don't need to care about those kind of sanctions. So now Russia cannot use this, and Apple also. iOS they block it, and they don't allow to sell the Apple, and also Android. Sooner or later they will block the Android is open source. They couldn't block it, but the Android, the Google mobile service GMS, they blocked it. So it's like in China, in Huawei, we cannot use GMS, so we get HMS instead. So Harmony OS, my phone using Harmony OS. You can search my videos previously. Talked about the Harmony OS and my phone and my channel about we got Harmony OS instead of Android, so we don't need to care about the OS as well. And for coffee, we don't need to care about Starbucks. If Starbucks stop, we got Luckin Coffee, also listed in the last step, Dow Jones. So in the Nasdaq, Dow Jones, in the USA stock market. So we got Luckin Coffee, that's train versus the Starbucks. So we also have the great coffee, cheaper money. It's cheaper, not expensive, inexpensive, but greater. I love it, the coffee. So we got a lot of coffees alternatives. For the plane, we got C919, and we got the cooperation with Russia. So China, Russia, CR929 versus Boeing and Airbus. We don't need to care. So even plane, we got our own plane. The C919 and CR929 is being built. C919 already flying, and this year they will release to the market. And C929, I think within 8 years or even faster, we will get the CR929 to Russia, China. So this is a long range one. Alternative for the A330, maybe, I don't know. Boeing 737. So it's about 10,000 kilometer. For long range, can go to the Europe, USA as well for using this plane. I think this plane is very long range one. but the C919, this is about 600 kilometers. Will be released in this year, so expecting to fly to the Singapore or Korea or Thailand or something using the C919. And also the plane engines, we got our self plane engine as well. This is for using the fighter jet. And for the C919, we also get the Changjiang 1000A. So this engine can be used in the C919 plane, but now using the CFM engine or the LEAP engine by the USA. So because it will be easier for get the license to fly in the Europe and the United States. So C919 is using this, but sooner or later they will have a CJ1000A replace the LEAP engine. Okay, so we also got digital CNY yuan, digital Chinese yuan money. So we don't need to. So we can cope with the US dollar hegemony and the imperialism and capitalism. We can find Russia, Iran, North Korea, and some kind of Eastern European countries together to build a great, also India, to build a great alternatives to US dollars hegemony, so we can break the monopoly sooner or later within 5 years. And this Russian and the Western countries conflict can fasten this step and procedures to use yuan or other money in the world. So we can also have, as I've mentioned before, we got the HMS, the Huawei Mobile Service versus the GMS. So we got HMS as the phone. HMS. This Huawei. We don't need to use the Google Mobile Service. So we got the Huawei Gallery to download the app, and the app can use the Harmony OS, the HMS core, like Petal Search and Google Map. Not the Google Map. We are Huawei Map or Huawei Service instead of the Google Map. So yeah, even the map, we have Petal Map and A Map versus Google Map. So we got the Petal Map by Huawei. Yeah, we don't need to use Google Map as well. Got HMS, we don't need to use GMS. We got A Map as well. So with this is we can use this map as well to navigate. So yeah, we also add one more important. It's the Beidou satellite. Yeah, satellite versus GPS. We don't need to use the GPS if they close the GPS. No worries, we got a more accurate one. We got the Beidou satellite. So we don't need to worry anything about Sanction. We got Beidou satellite, yeah? This one, our Chinese one. We also got a lot of things can replace the US stuff immediately, and we are ready. I think to conclude, through this Russia's being sanctioned by the West and the USA, we will fasten our pace, and we will go faster. We will strengthen it, and even more concerned about the sanction. And it's like now we've been being sanctioned for a long time, like Huawei, ZTE, and all the China Telecom, all the companies, and semiconductors, those kind of things like we also have SMIC versus other semiconductor like this. We got the SMIC. Yeah, 中芯国际. This is to make a CPU, make the chipsets. So we don't need to care about this. We got all. So even Sanction, we got this to make our CPU. And now it's under. We can make a 14 nanometer, and if with some US technology, but no any US technology, we can make 28, I think, 28 to 35 nanometer we can make. So it's pretty good and pretty enough for using as to for the computer. If a cell phone may be bigger, but it's usable. So through the Russians being sanctioned, we can well prepare ourselves. We can think faster. We can concern more deeply. We can step up our pace to replace all the things by the USA, replace USA stuff, and to avoid any sanctions for future uncertainty. So I think Russia now also needs to make more alternatives to replace the USA stuff, and then it will be great. And the world will be not dominated by the USA, okay? That's the story I want to share, and happy share. Let's stop it, okay? Hope the world will be peaceful again.